Well, I want to play a piece for you that I wrote when I was a little older than you. I was maybe 15 or 16 years old, and it's called a nocturne. And a nocturne means night music. Can you say nocturne? Nocturne. Nocturne means night music. When I wrote this song, the first thing I did was I made up a story. I was practicing the piano, like I was always doing, and I came up with this little idea. And that's all I had. And you're going to hear Mr. David over there play that on his cello in a minute. But that's the only little tune I had, and I said, well, that might turn into a pretty neat piece of music. So I went home and I made up a story. I took out a piece of paper, and I made up a story, and then the next day I went back to the piano and I put the story up in front of me, and I read the story and I played the story on the piano. So can I tell you the story? And then I'm going to play the song, the piece, and see if you can, in your mind, hear the story. Now imagine this. It's about 100 years ago, and there's a party. 100 years ago, they called these parties a ball. Right? You've seen those in Cinderella, right? A big ball, so it's a big fancy party. I want you to imagine that it's way out in the country, in a really great big house with 2 stories, 2 floors on the house, okay? It's out in the country. It's at night, a big party. The second floor of this house is one great big room. And that great big room is where there's an orchestra playing and there are people dancing. And this is what they look like. The girls had on these great big hoopity skirts. You know what I'm talking about? These great, they swished and swirled every time they turned around. And the boys had on these tuxedos, fancy bow ties, and the coats that had tails on the back. And they wore these 3-corner George Washington hats. Right? Can you imagine all that in your mind? Okay, so we're at this ball, we're at this party. There's lots of people there. Well, there's a boy at the party. Way over across the room, the boy sees a girl. This girl's pretty. The boy says, I think I'll ask her to dance. And as he gets closer, he's thinking, wow, she's really pretty. This may be the prettiest girl I've ever seen. So he's getting kind of nervous. But he asks her to dance. And she says, sure, I'll dance with you. So they start to dance. Now, she's got this great big hoopity skirt on, right? So they're trying to dance. And all the other ladies have on these great big hoopity skirts. And so they're bumping into each other. And they're, it's kind of hard to dance. So they look over just like this, and they say, there's a balcony over there. Why don't we go over to the balcony? It's kind of hard to dance with this great big hoopity skirt on. So they went over to the balcony, and they walk out on the balcony, and they're looking out on a field. Now imagine this. It's nighttime, a great big full moon, so everything looks kind of bluish. Can you imagine that? And they're looking out over this field, all this grass, and in the back there are trees. There's a forest that makes kind of a horseshoe shape. Can you imagine that? Trees over here and in the back and over here, and then a big field in the middle. They're looking out over this beautiful, beautiful sign. It's at night, right? This is a nocturne, right? Night music. Well, the boy says, why don't we go for a walk? And the girl says, that's a great idea. So they walk back through that party, and everybody's dancing, and they're bumping into their hoopity skirts, and they go downstairs, and they go outside, and they go for a walk, and they start to play a game that people, when they're on a date, sometimes play. They start to play chase. And she's kind of moving this way, and he's going after her, and guess what? He caught her. And guess what this guy tried to do? This guy tried to plant a great big smooch right on her. Can you believe that? He tried. And just when he went in for the big old smooch, she turns around. She's like playing hard to get, She turns around and runs. Well, when she turned around, she knocked off his 3-corner George Washington hat. So he turns around, and he picks up his 3-corner George Washington hat, and he comes back up, and she's gone. And he says to himself, well, she's just playing hard to get. This is great. And so it makes him like her even more. So he looks over here, and he walks over here to these trees, but she's not there. So he says, well, maybe she's over here. So he runs over to this side of the field, and he looks behind the trees in the forest over here. Well, she's not there. Well, he's starting to get pretty worried, right? I mean, he's just met this girl. This is the prettiest girl he's ever seen, and already she's gone? So he's really starting to get scared. He comes back over here, and he's looking, and he's getting really upset, and he's just about ready to scream. And the moonlight breaks through the trees, and he sees her standing behind a tree smiling at him. Well, the two were reunited, and they went back to the ball. Now that's the story, okay? Now we're going to play a piece, and we're going to play this nocturne, and I want you to imagine the story in your mind. But to help you out, we're going to put a few things on the board, okay? So at the beginning, it was, where does this happen? What's going on? There's a big house in the country and a ball. Good, there's a ball. Now, is a ball going to be happy or sad? Happy. So is it going to be major or minor? Major. Major, good. So the major sound here with the ball. Can you read that? You guys may have a hard time over there, but try real hard. Now at the ball, what happens? Boy meets girl. That's right. Boy meets girl. Now is that happy or sad? That's pretty happy, right? Okay, so is that major or minor? That's major. Good. And they dance and they have a great time, right? So there'd be a good bit of music here because there's a lot of stuff going on. They have to meet each other and they dance. They go out and look over the field. And then where do they go? They go downstairs outside for a walk, right? So they go out for a walk and the boy tries to do what? Smooch, right? Okay, so let's write that. Smooch. Now, is all of this happy or sad? It's all happy, right? So is it major or minor? Major. Good. All this is major. Great. Now, when he turns around after trying, remember she turns around and knocks his three-corner George Washington hat off? When he turns around, the girl is gone. Now, is that happy or sad? That's sad. So is it going to be major or minor? Minor. Good. So, girl, let's just write girl gone. Okay? Girl gone, minor. Now, boy looks for girl. Does he find her? No. Girl still gone. Major or minor? Minor. He runs over to the other side looking for her. Does he find her? Girl still gone. Major or minor? Now, as if he's getting excited and really getting worried, is the music going to get louder or softer? It's going to get louder, isn't it? Good. Is it going to get faster or slower? Faster, right? Because he's excited. His heart's racing faster. This is really minor, and it's really getting pretty loud, right? But then what happens? When the moonlight breaks through the trees, boy finds girl. Good. Now, is that happy or sad? That's really happy, right? Boy finds girl. So that's super duper major, right? That's a big happy spot, right? And then they're reunited and they go back to the ball, right? Now, is that happy or sad? Happy. Major or minor? Major. Excellent. Now, look at this. This is the story over here, and as you're listening to the music, you'll follow along. And this is going to help you keep up with where you are. When it's still happy and major sounding, you know that we're still up here. When it gets to be minor and sad sounding, we're down here. And when it starts to get louder and faster, you know he's really getting excited because he can't find her. But then he does find her, and it's a really big, great big spot where it's major again. Now, all of this is major, one big section. All of this is minor, and then another big major section at the end. Now, we're going to play this piece, and I want you to imagine in your mind like a movie, okay? I want you to play this movie in your mind while we play, okay? Now, it's kind of long. It's about 7 minutes long, so it's kind of like listening to 2 songs on the radio. So you're really going to have to concentrate, okay? You have to kind of become part of this because you're helping to make up the movie in your head, okay? Okay.